Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about my introduction to biblical history. So, where do we begin? Well, in the beginning, I believe we're going to start with my view on the Bible. The Bible, to say the least, is an ancient text, which was written written by the Old Testament at the very least, or the Torah, as we call it, was at the very least written around 3,500 years ago. In this series, which I will be making, I will be presenting biblical evidence for every single story in the entire Bible, because I believe that this is 100% factual and nothing about it is false. For starters, how the biblical Bible is written, we must look at certain interpretations and certain ways of how things are written in the Bible. While I believe that it is historical fact, I also believe that some of it is edited, to say the least. Most historians would agree, or some could be mistranslated. Most Christians have the King James Bible, which is not exactly the most reliable source, as it was, edited by King James, who is not exactly the most credible biblical source. They didn't refer to any Jewish Hebrew scholars at the time, and really just wrote based on what they thought. It's probably not your most accurate Bible. Most people would consider the most accurate Bible to be the New American Standard Version. So that is the version of which I'm going to be referring to throughout this series. In any case, it is very clear that certain things in the Bible are mistranslated. You must, of course, look at the language of the Bible and how it was written. Maybe you believe that the Bible didn't happen, or that it was written at a later date. That can work even then in biblical times, because there was a change of language. It wasn't always Hebrew. It eventually became Hebrew. But before that, it was Paleo-Hebrew. And before that, it was Proto-Semitic. And before that, there was no alphabet, to my knowledge. It probably came from hieroglyphics. But nonetheless, everybody knows that Proto-Semitic is the original language. The Bible is, to say the least, changing through language. And it's very difficult to understand for most people. But we have to understand that in the point in time in which it was written, as we can see in ancient history, Proto-Semitic was the original language of our main characters in the Bible. So basically, our first people who are in the Bible, they are, all of them, are speaking Proto-Semitic. Sinaitic. When I mean almost everybody, I mean in the sense of until the point in which, I believe around the 10th century BC, which BC tends to work backwards. So while we count forward, they counted backwards. Around the 10th century BC, there was a switch to Paleo-Hebrew. So we can safely say that probably King Solomon, or of sorts, would have been speaking Paleo-Hebrew instead of Proto-Semitic. So we can look at that. So, to say the least, we must look at we must look at the ancient languages first before we look anywhere else, because that is where we're going to start here. The editing of the Bible and the mistranslation of the Bible does not take away from the historicity of the Bible. It does not at all. I just think that that means that the Bible has changed throughout generations, and what the meaning of the Bible is to us changes over time. I will discuss much more throughout my series. Thank you and goodbye.